Hello and welcome to Reviving Rambles podcast. This will be episode number one.
Yes,
And I'm not alone.
you are not.
I have got. Introduce yourself.
Hello there, avid listeners of Reviving Rambles. My name is not Reviving Rambles, but in fact, Sam, and I do a lot of rambling.
You're kind of a professional rambler at this point sometimes. You can
Well,
be.
I mean, I guess when you study anthropology and philosophy, you kind of got to be.
Yeah, look, I'm kind of glad I never went that side of things, and I personally went Digimedia. It's so much less like daunting to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's valid. I think for me personally, it was more um, my mind works too much.
Yeah, no, that's completely
I
understandable.
I don't know. I think I need to be constantly stimulated by some sort of I don't want to come across as like pretentious, but some sort of intellectual pursuit, I guess. I don't know. That sounds kind of whack, but you know.
Not really. You've always kind of been that way. I mean, as a kid, you were kind of in pursuit of knowledge for the most part.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Which actually, funnily enough, when you sort of asked me to do this, and you said, "Oh, we'll be talking a lot about Star Wars and things like that." Um, Funnily enough, that's actually how I got into what I'm into. I think uh, is because of Star Wars,
Just sort of,
and
yeah. No, it's kind of understandable. Like this, it's so much of a deep concept. Like there's only a certain amount of stuff that you see.
yeah, and I think it's really interesting. I work part time at a warehouse, as you know, and one of my
Yeah.
friends who I work with, very lovely guy, but come from very two different worlds, I suppose, but likewise is interested in Star Wars. That's actually the guy who I gave that PC stuff to. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember. Anyway, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I do.
and anyway, so we, we got talking about different things, and it's funny. Um, he's very interested in ship design and things like that, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
liking him.
right. And I am the complete opposite, obviously. The more I'm interested in the people. I'm interested in the law. I'm interested in like the multiple religions, the universe as a whole. I've never been one uh just for science, I think.
Aesthetically pleasing sort of
Yeah, I
design.
think I like more of well the world really. Not just one element.
Reading into the story more so than just taking a certain angle and running with it.
Yeah, I think you need. Well, I mean, me personally, I need for me to be interested in something. There needs to be like a thing that makes me sort of sit and go, "Hang on, what was that? What was that about?
Yeah,
What are they talking about there?" And
yeah, no, it's completely understandable that too. Like, there's so much there in the universe that is Star Wars that you would miss if you weren't
a
sort
nerd.
of trying to piece together bits and pieces. Well, that too, yeah. Yeah, plain and simple, yes, a nerd.
But
If you didn't go and rewatch movies and TV shows like 6 times,
six
you'd miss it.
times. Well, okay. I don't know what that makes me then. Considering I was I
Or
was about to say
me.
literally before this watching Return of the Jedi, probably for the sixth time this week, maybe.
I remember as a kid, like, I had a VHS player in my room with a big CRT
Hmm.
TV, and I had Ep 4, 5, and 6, and that was the only thing I had on VHS. So that was the only thing I
Yep.
watched. And I can tell you now, I watched it way too many
So I find that
times.
funny because it's
But
like, I think as a kid, my mum and dad loved DVDs and movies and things like that, right? And
yeah,
so we always had like a lot of content, yet the only content that I wanted to watch was Star Wars. That was it.
yeah, I'm still the same. I can't sit down and watch a movie to save my
Oh,
life. I
totally.
got around to watching the first John Wick like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
That's been out
I like John
forever.
Wick.
But
Wow,
like,
that's really up your alley. I'm very surprised.
I'm surprised I haven't got into it yet.
Yeah.
But it's been on my watch list. I just haven't had the time. Like, not the time. I've had plenty
Mm.
of that. I just haven't had the desire to go and watch it. Instead, I'd put on like
Mm.
Star Wars, or just go back to like the Clone Wars, because I was a massive fan of the animated Clone Wars. I'm pretty sure you'd
Yeah,
remember.
which that actually brings me to a bit of a controversial question.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm
So,
listening.
I mean, as you know, I was literally staring at the download screen for Lego Star Wars. And anyway, so
Yes.
I was playing, and I'm playing as Jango Fett. And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that Jango Fett in this is voiced by Bradley D. Baker, who is,
Yes.
as you know, the voice of the Clone Wars clones.
Yes.
I really like a lot of the Clone Wars actors, or voice actors. I think they're really good. But to me, he's just not Jango Fett.
It's just unnatural because
Jango
we
Fett,
were introduced to the character.
Jango Fett to me is Tamora Morrison,
Yeah.
uh, who, as we both know, he came back for Book of Boba Fett.
Yes. Which I'm really glad he
Oh,
did.
absolutely. What did you? Because I know you just recently watched it for the first time. What are your thoughts on it? I know it took you about 20 years to watch, but
As everything does. I finished Mandalorian the
yeah,
night before.
wow, okay. After everyone, I hope you know that I literally beg Andrew to watch new Star Wars content. Um,
All the time. I still haven't watched Rebels. I still haven't watched Solo.
Solo, I feel like it's it's good. It's okay.
It's not great, but it's good.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't.
It's a standalone.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Same boat as Rogue One, or
Mm, no, Rogue One was. Rogue One, I feel like, is one of those must-see Star Wars films. I feel like Solo is one of those things
yeah,
where you watch and you go, okay, that was a good film, but it's not one that you automatically go, I want to watch Star Wars, so I'm going to watch Solo. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, so I was talking to my old boss, and he was telling me that to get someone into Star Wars, Rogue One is a good entry level
I would actually agree. That's what I was going to show my girlfriend. Yeah.
because you don't need any of the lore going into it.
No, it's just a war movie in the stars.
It's war movie set in
Yeah,
sci-fi. Like, you can't go
yeah.
wrong. But no, Book of Boba Fett.
Yes, thoughts.
I like how they tied it into the Mandalorian series.
With a lot of prequel nods also.
Yes,
Mm.
exactly. Um,
Specifically, Wizard.
Cinematically, really
Mm.
beautiful.
What about what?
It's good to see what happened post the
Sarlacc pit.
barge
Mm.
incident. Yeah, the Sarlacc pit, the
Mm.
barge incident, where
Mm.
Jabba was just
Yeah.
dead.
Thoughts on the pacing?
A little I feel like they pushed it a little too fast, a little too
Oh,
quick,
fast.
personally.
Really? Wow, I was the opposite. I,
Yeah,
I thought it was slow.
I, th- I think they've pushed it a little too far. If they could have made it into a 2-season pretty easily.
Interesting.
I'm not sure what their direction is from here with it. I think if it's just this season and that's it, then they've done really well with the season. But I don't see a whole lot of loose ends to follow up with for a season 2, if you know what I mean.
I honestly think he will just be a Mando character, you know?
Yeah. I think that's what they're going to push him towards now, at
Mm,
least.
mm, mm-hmm,
Which is fine by me. Completely fine with
mm.
me. um,
Yeah, it's funny, you
but
know.
then again,
I feel like I have mixed opinions or not mixed opinions, mixed feelings, I suppose, because I'm so stoked that he got his own show. I think he was great in it.
yeah,
But then also there's part of me that's like, you know, you watch the original trilogy and he's like this silent assassin type figure, right? He doesn't, you know, he keeps his mask on the whole time. It's very, you know, the
yeah.
only things that he says are like these quips that are like, what is it? He's no good to me dead,
Don't put me on the spot.
and
Yeah,
stuff like that, you know. And whereas it's like this season, I understand character development. I think his character development is awesome, by the way.
yeah. They've done really, really well
Yeah,
with it.
I think that he was. It's so cool that you know he became a Tusken for a while, but I feel like that kind of stoic nature that he had is now very much. Again, like I said, I understand character development. That's cool.
Yeah,
But to me, it's like, you know, that stoic nature he had is all but gone. It's very I guess this is a long-winded way.
he's
This is a long-winded way of saying I think he talks too much. I think he
yeah.
takes off his mask and he
Look,
talks too much.
here's my thing
Mm,
though. As a kid, he was very quiet and reserved, as a lot of kids are.
mm.
He was not really in a environment that he could particularly thrive as a kid.
Well, I guess not when your dad's a bounty hunter.
A bounty hunter. He watched his father get decapitated.
Mm. But don't you think that's what should add to that stoic nature that I'm talking about? That
Yeah, but I think that continues on to him working with the Hutts and
mm,
whatnot. From there, the whole Sarlacc pit
mm,
incident could also be that turning point that he had to say, look, something needs to
mm,
change. Hence the whole I don't want to rule like Jabba did,
mm,
essentially. I want to be known. I want to be seen as trying to do the right thing by everyone else here. So I think that could also be his turn point to like
yeah.
break him out of that shell a
And
little bit
yeah, he
more.
certainly seems like he's a lot more heroic than anti-heroic, you know, than the anti-hero. And
Yeah,
it's, I just,
which they would have needed to have done for this show to work anyway, in a
mm,
sense.
mm,
Don't get me wrong, I would love to see pure bounty hunting
I mean,
with him, which is kind of what we got at the start of
mm,
Mando, but
it's not even so much that I just want to see bounty hunting. It's more, I just want to see that more fearsome
yeah,
attitude, I suppose.
the real warrior type showing through.
Yeah, you know,
Well, you got to take into account he's basically a one-to-one copy of every single clone that was ever produced,
yeah,
lacking the whole aging technology.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's literally the only difference between him and
Mm,
everyone else. And we had some pretty fierce clones.
mm,
Like
mm.
they were pretty intense for the most part,
Oh yeah,
as opposed to the stormtroopers that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I do really like how the Mandalorian kind of plays with that idea. Um, do you remember when
Yeah,
they had
the scout
yes,
troopers.
yes. I
Yes,
thought that was just so funny.
that was a very it was a very polite nod to like the entire community as a whole to say, yeah, we know
Oh
that
yeah,
they're shit
I
shots.
just thought that was so funny and so smart, you know.
Oh yeah,
But I was
they didn't have to include anything like that,
no,
but
but I mean, why wouldn't you?
yeah, I mean, if it's there to do,
Mm,
you may as
mm,
well.
mm. I was reading a thing the other day though saying, what was it on? I think it was on Reddit maybe, and
I have never heard you talk about Reddit ever.
I go on it occasionally. You know, it's I'm a pretty cl-
Once
I'm
in a
a
blue
pretty
moon,
cluey guy, but
when the moons of Tatooine align, you'll be on
yeah,
Reddit.
yeah, the Suns, yeah.
The suns, not the moons, the suns. Oh,
What was I gonna say?
that's the other reason I have him doing this with me. Is anything I say that's wrong, the Wikipedia will
Yeah,
correct.
walking Wikipedia. I wish. I don't know. I think I would like to think that I have a pretty expansive Star Wars knowledge.
Yeah, see, mine is really. I'm particular with my
Mm,
Star Wars, and I'm Clone Wars prior.
mm.
You are more sort of all rounded with EU and whatnot as
Yeah,
well.
I would. Yeah. I would like to know more about the EU than I do. Um,
Yeah,
I try. I try. Look, I think for me personally, I try to keep up to date with kind of everything. Um, Obviously, you know that doesn't work all the time, but like I said,
no, not all
I
the
do
time.
like to keep try and keep pretty well rounded. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's important to me as a Star Wars fan. Um,
See, I'm relatively well versed in knowledge around the board, but not nearly as in depth as some of the conversations that you and I have had where you've been like, hey, did you know
mm.
this? And I'm sitting here like, holy shit, no, the fuck, I did not.
Yeah, you know,
Holy fuck.
it's I do my homework. I try to do my homework. Whether it's the
You
correct
do.
homework, I don't know, but
You do your Star Wars homework more than your uni homework.
I was about to say arguably yeah, but actually not arguably. Like yes,
No.
correct. Yeah.
I've I'm working on a server, on a Minecraft
Mm,
server at the
mm,
moment, and I'm just building a hangar bay full of Republic ships and
mm.
whatnot. And like, this is a pretty well populated server. It's like 75 active players on a daily basis, which is
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good, for an Australian server anyway. I mean, you don't get many of them
Mm.
around here. Um, and all the while that I've been doing that, I've had like breakdowns of this person's character and everything that's happened in their lifetime. Like, I watched Darth Maul's 2-part series yesterday.
Oh yeah.
It was like an hour and a half of information on Darth
Mm,
Maul.
mm.
Every single appearance broken down. I was like, this is actually really
How long
handy.
was that?
It's not going to do me any good,
I
but
feel like I
like,
watched. Well, how long was that? Was that on YouTube? Did you say? Oh no, Minecraft.
yeah. No, it was
Oh yeah.
YouTube. I was watching that while doing Minecraft. 44 minutes was the first part, and I think the second part was about half an hour.
Yeah. I feel like if I haven't watched it, I've heard of it, or I've come across it.
Like
You know.
that
Yeah. Hmm.
on your little deep dives.
On my little deep dives. What was I watching yesterday?
The same channel did a General Grievous one as well, breaking down
Oh, he's a
his start to
very,
finish.
very interesting character.
Somehow they managed to drag Darth Maul's out to an hour and a half, but Grievous's was only 45 minutes.
Well, that's an interesting thing, right? Is because, I was just about to say, Maul was a fan favorite, but I know that Grievous was too, but
Yeah.
I feel like the whole thing with Maul is that it was kind of like the dude looks like Satan. you know.
Yeah. My personal thing is most of the hype that I think Maul
Mm.
had was the first time in a theater
Oh,
there was
the
more
double
than
lightsaber.
one
Yeah,
blade.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously Grievous having four of them,
Mm.
but also being a Sith in a sense.
Not Sith. I,
In a sense, bad side.
I mean, yeah, he was certainly a separatist, but I think the story of General Grievous is really fascinating and one that I think is
Yeah.
really underutilized in the
Oh,
yeah
100%.
in the what's the word? Well, I guess just like any digital media, it's what we know of General
Mm,
Grievous is basically that he just coughs and has four lightsabers. Um,
yeah.
but he is a really interesting character in so far as he was almost like a I don't know why my mind went to Thanos, but he kind of was like a destroyer. He was a yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny, those cyber enhancements, he chose those. He
Yeah.
wanted those.
He was humanoid, I
Yeah, no, he
guess.
was. He totally was. He was a what was he? Oh, I can't remember his race. But anyway, yeah, he was a humanoid,
Mm,
and that's what I think is underutilized is how what okay, we know so far what we know about his character is that he hates Jedi, right? Why does he hate the Jedi?
yeah. He was a Kalish.
Kalish, yes, yes, he was. Um,
The only reason he ended up going into his cyborg state is that he saw Flesh's weakness,
hmm.
and now he's just there.
See, how cool would that be to have his backstory, like to be able to watch his backstory?
Yeah. Here you go. I've actually found his cough and a
George
little
Lucas.
explanation. Huh?
His cough is George Lucas. Yeah,
Really?
he had a cold. He had a
Oh
cold on
wow.
set, and
That
he thought it
works.
would be cool to.
To implement his cold, his
Yeah,
sickness.
I thought that's what you're gonna say.
No, this is kind of a backstory as to why he has
Is it
his
Coyote
cough.
Mundi? No, Mace Windu.
No.
Because I do know. Sorry, I know I'm totally cutting you off here, but I do know that in the Tchaikovsky Clone Wars, remember the original, was it
Yes.
2003, I think? Um,
Yeah, roughly.
in that, it was actually Mace Windu who force crushed his ribs.
Really?
Yeah. I,
Interesting.
that is the version of Grievous I wish we got. That
Yeah.
really hardcore version. But actually, funnily enough, I was watching on YouTube yesterday. The reason we didn't get that is because George Lucas didn't want him to be too close to Darth Vader.
Which it's understandable. Vader was your standout iconic character and still is your
And that's
iconic
right. And he
character.
didn't want it to be overshadowed by Grievous because he thought to himself, Vader is the Jedi killer. Vader is the big
Oh
bad
yeah.
scary guy. You don't want, he didn't want Grievous to be that.
Don't get me wrong, it would have been cool to see Grievous that way.
Look, I wish we
But
had.
yeah, personally me too. Google is telling me, looked up what race he was and ended up getting "Why does General Grievous have a cough?"
Yes.
Posted on the 6th of November 2021. Dooku was originally responsible for the crash, but told Grievous that it was Jedi who sabotaged the shuttle. This in turn fueled his hatred of the Jedi. As a result of the enhancements, his organic lungs were irritated by some of the implants, resulting in his persistent cough. Which I can see that happening because there really isn't any kind of... There's like an amniotic sac, but there's no real protection towards metal to his organ.
And they're very much exposed. I mean,
yes, very
think
much so.
Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan literally ripping them open.
By hand. I mean,
Interesting.
In all fairness, that was a pretty good way to defeat him.
Yeah, what was I watching? I was watching on YouTube. A guy was saying that he. Oh, okay. I'm playing Lego Star Wars currently, and I just activated a little puzzle that I did not. Oh, wait. Anyway, I was watching.
I think it's safe to say you've played Lego Star Wars every day since it's been released.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nearly. Close
Nearly?
enough.
No, definitely. I was going to say, yeah, apparently there was a behind the scenes thing where apparently Grievous was supposed to die a lot more brutal than what he actually
Really?
did. Yeah, I do remember watching it.
I thought that was already pretty brutal, the whole
Yeah,
internally combusting, essentially.
yeah, no, like I said, I do remember watching it, but I just can't remember what.
Actually, it said.
Yeah, that's going to annoy me now.
Have you seen the new sets that Lego is putting out for the little dioramas that they're making?
I have heard of them. I
Yes.
think I've seen. I think the last Lego sets that I was sort of looking at were Mando's N1.
Yep.
Um, the Luke in the season finale of Mando 2.
Yep.
That's kind of it.
So essentially, they're doing a diorama run at the moment. Diorama. They've got, I think, 3 released now.
Oh, was one of them a trench run? Yes, okay, I did
Yes.
see that. And was one of them a sandcrawler?
I believe it may have been. Let me just pull it up.
I think I read.
I don't. It is not a sandcrawler. Not
Okay,
yet.
is there one on Tatooine though, or am I making that up?
I think there will be. From the video I watched earlier on today showing off the trash compactor.
Oh, okay. Trash compactor.
He stated that Luke's land speeder is coming out.
Okay.
It's like a Ultimate Collector's Edition diorama set. As of right now, the 3 that I can find are the Trench Run,
Yep.
the Trash Compactor, and Dagobah Jedi Training.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is actually a really nice looking set. It's got like the wing of an X-Wing coming out of the swamp.
Actually, I have seen that. Yes.
Yeah, it's cool as, but I don't know. The price points for these are kind of getting a bit crazy now.
Yeah, they are. Lego's kind of always
the Trench Run.
expensive.
Oh yeah, but The trench run is $90 Australian at the moment,
okay.
with 665 pieces.
I mean, it's a pretty big set.
Not particularly.
I mean, yeah.
10 centimeters high, 22 wide, and 15 deep.
Okay.
So it's really not overly big.
Yeah, it's not.
2 TIE fighters, Darth Vader's TIE fighter, and little X-wing that's using the lightsaber hilts as part of their weapon systems.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which is kind of cool. And they've actually custom made a piece to like extend the X-wing so that it actually has the proper cannon on the side.
Yeah, that's cool.
It looks really cool. But yes, that one is 665 pieces at $90. Dagobah has 1,000 pieces.
Okay.
At $120.
Okay.
And it is just pulling up the specs now. 16 centimeters high, 29 centimeters wide, and 17 centimeters deep.
Okay.
So that's significantly bigger in comparison. The trash compactor has 802 pieces.
I'm going to be honest, I think I'm a little bit let down by the trash compactor. I just don't. I don't
Me
really
too.
care.
I've got the Death Star. It has the trash compactor in it.
What year is your Death Star?
I think it's the 2016 one where they just retextured and added like a couple more bricks.
Is that the exposed one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's not bad. It's still a really nice
kit.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
But like,
I'm just an elitist.
They didn't change it all too much from the original one.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, you can't really change something when it's based off of a movie that is old as shit. But surely you could change the layouts and add some, like, just different aspects to it. But no, the trash compactor, 802 pieces,
okay.
is... Where are you? No. I can't actually even see the size of it. Ah, there we go. 10 centimeters high, 22 wide, and 15 deep, so it's pretty much the trench run.
I mean, I don't think... I mean, yeah, it's quite expensive, but
do you know the price point of this one?
Didn't you say 90?
Nope. The trench run is 90. This one is the same size.
How much was the Dagobah one?
Dagobah is 120.
Alright, I'm going to take a wild guess and say 140.
No. Do you want to take another guess?
150?
150. Yeah.
I see.
The thing that caught me off guard is that US at retails at $90, obviously conversion rates and whatnot. But $150 for something like that, when as a kid I would go to Toy World in town at the time and buy like the Arc 170 for like $100, or even one of the Republic
frigates. But you said these were a collector's edition, right?
Yeah.
See, that's where they can get away with shit like this.
Yeah. See, the other thing that I don't like about this set, you've got 4 minifigs inside the actual trash compactor, but there's 6 figures in total. You get Chewie, Luke, Leia, and Han, obviously. You also get 3PO and R2-D2. They hide at the back of the set, so you can't see them at all. You either want to see R2 and 3PO trying to unlock the door.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed by that.
Yeah, me too.
That's a very
Like,
small.
yeah, for $150 and the whole R2 and 3PO get a 2 by 12 platform to stand on. Like, it just,
Ooh,
it's
I like
lackluster.
the Dagobah training one. I think
Yeah, Dagobah I really
I'll be
do
getting
like.
that one, I think.
I think out of those ones so far, I would definitely be going for Dagobah. That's another thing I needed to bring up. Luke training Grogu like Yoda trained Luke.
Say again?
Luke training Grogu
Oh, yeah,
like Yoda trained
Yeah, I
Luke.
thought that's cool. Actually,
Chef's
I
kiss.
gotta say, I
Happy.
also do quite like the trench run.
Yeah, it looks pretty detailed considering what the size of it is.
I still, as I said, Dagobah, wow, very cool.
I just like the fact with the trench run that they've actually made a R2D2 stud
Oh,
to
yeah,
go on top of the
that's
X-Wing.
cool.
Like, it's a 1x1
Yeah,
stud, but it's beautiful.
beautiful,
Absolutely
beautiful,
beautiful.
beautiful.
I think to end this off, I will do one last deep dive into a question that kind of rounds out what we want to do with this entire podcast,
Yes, yes,
essentially.
yes.
What game console did you start on? And what is the most memorable game that you have ever played? What's the one game that stands out above all
Easy,
else?
easy question.
And it can't be the new Lego Star Wars.
No, easy question. My brother had a PS1,
Yep.
PlayStation 1, and we played 2 games on it. No, 3 games on it
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So, a bunch of Crash Bandicoot games,
Yep,
yeah,
understandably.
a bunch of Tony Hawk Pro Skaters,
Again, understandably.
but my all-time favorite PlayStation 1 game was Tekken 1.
Tekken. I should have seen that coming with how often you and I played Tekken as a
Oh
kid.
yeah, and considering I, just paid top dollar for 2 vintage Tekken shirts, but yeah,
That too. I completely forgot
yeah.
about that. No, I should have
hmm
remembered. Yeah, for reference, Sam and I have known each other since what
Birth,
5 years
yeah,
old. That's not birth.
like
Primary school. So
very
that's
long
what
time.
19 years now.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't need to say that ever again.
yeah. Well, there you go. We've known each other, yeah, for about 20 years, 19, 20 years.
Yeah, nearly 20 years. So we've kind of had a lot of the conversations of Star Wars in games quite frequently. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. But I, I don't know. I always sort of pictured you leaning towards
hmm
Tekken, but at the same time, I thought you would have said Mortal Kombat.
No, I never heard Mortal Kombat. Actually, I don't know if Mortal Kombat did come out on PlayStation 1.
I am not. I
No, I think it
think it
did. Yeah, I
did.
think it did. But no, I never had Mortal Kombat on PlayStation 1.
I think if you go to open my PlayStation 1 that I have in a box at Nan's, I think I've got a burnt copy of Mortal Kombat 1 on there.
I'm not surprised. No, I never actually got onto Mortal Kombat until I had a PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Um, and my first Mortal Kombat game was Deadly Alliance,
Yeah.
which was, I think that was Shang Tsung's kind of rise to power, I think. No, what was it? Shang Tsung and Quan Chi team up, a la the Deadly Alliance, obviously. And
Yes.
then the second one I had was Armageddon.
You know when Deadly Alliance was released?
I want to say 2004?
Go lower.
No.
2002. 16th of November 2002.
You just...
Your mind is
yeah,
blown.
I'm having an existential crisis right now. Wow.
That's just nuts.
Wow, okay.
For me, I have a couple of little games that kind of stand out to my mind when I think of gaming as a child, essentially. The one game I will say that I spent way too much time on was Battlefront 2 for Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the
I
PlayStation
remember
2.
you constantly playing that.
That was basically never out of the console. Prior to that, I had the PlayStation 1. I had Nintendo 64. On the 64, it was Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, I remember you playing
Loved
that
Pokemon
too.
Stadium. Yeah. It was the first kind of game that I ever saw that had 3D graphics in a sense.
Yeah, see, I never had
Obvious.
a Nintendo console until the DS. Oh, wait, no, that's a lie. My brother had a Game Boy Color. Is that Nintendo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
Don't. Yeah. It took Nintendo cartridges, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had a little, like, wait a second.
The only other one that stands out to my mind is my dad and I going out to the shed of a night to go and play Time Crisis 1 on the PlayStation 1.
One, I did not know that. But two, I am just so unsurprised. Like, I'm like, if your dad was to play any game, of course it would be Time Crisis.
You know the sad part though? He also played Mortal Kombat, so...
You know, I'm also very unsurprised by that.
He went from games like Pong and Duck Hunt and Space Invaders to Mortal Kombat
Actually,
and Time Crisis.
That reminds me, did you know, I feel like this will surprise you, my dad, he held the record for Pac-Man in Ararat.
Really?
Which is our hometown, for context.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there used to be an arcade there. Actually, where, I mean, this is really not going to make sense to any of the viewers, but I just thought this would be some interesting local information. But so you know where Subway is now?
Yeah.
So that used to be an arcade. Fun fact. And yeah, so Dad used to have one of the high scores for Pac-Man.
That's pretty nuts.
Pretty nuts considering, you know, here's a guy who wouldn't even touch a console. When I was a kid, I remember begging him to play V8 Supercars with me, and he would just say no.
And he would walk past you when you were playing Need for Speed and
Blue
say,
and green should never be
those
seen.
colours shouldn't match. Yep,
I knew
pretty
what you were
much.
going to say. I knew what you were going to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
His rendition of that is stuck in my head, so...
There you go.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I guess. The only other thing that's really stuck in my head is trapping us inside of a caravan. That was fun.
Yeah.
For context, I'm allergic to some certain foods.
Andrew spewed everywhere.
We had pizza one night, and I reckon it was like a 1 by 1 meter puddle.
Yeah, and I had to like leap over it. You know what's funny? That's actually still a thing my family talks about. It's like, do you know that time when Andrew stayed the night and said he could eat egg, and then he ate egg and spewed everywhere? Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And the whole chain linked fence incident coming out of primary school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, still.
My teeth are still not recovered.
Yeah.
They don't recover.
I still feel bad about that.
And I rode into the back of you on my bike and fell into a fence. That's my fault.
What about that time when I had that 2-story cubby and you fell backwards down?
Oh no! Because I didn't want to go home.
Am I the bad influence?
So
I don't know.
I seem to hurt myself a lot when I'm around you, apparently.
Apparently. Oh.
Where were you on the 6th of July in 2003?
I was watching my friend fall backwards down some stairs.
No. That's the date I broke my nose.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's the date I lost my sense of taste and smell.
Plot twist.
Were you there that day?
I was your mother.
Plot twist, you were the
I was
desk.
the desk.
Didn't jump into a desk, actually got sideswiped.
Oh, jeez.
That's just nuts.
Jeez,
but no, I think this could wrap up.
Yes, how long have we gone for?
About 45 minutes.
Oh wow, okay.
It's been pretty cruisy, if you ask me.
It's been very chill, very, very chill. Thank you for having me on.
That's quite alright. Hopefully, we can find some time to align your schedule with mine and do it again at some point.
That, I am always down for a chat.
Always down for a chat, especially when it's Star Wars related.
All you have to do is mention Luke Skywalker, and I am in.
I have a task for you for the next episode.
Beautiful.
Overall recap and, let's call it, highlights of the Skywalker saga.
Okay. Of
how the game runs, how the stories are, how the characters feel.
Yeah. Cool.
Favorite character, all those kinds of things. We'll go into that next time.
Done. Sounds great.
That is perfect. Alrighty. Well, thank you for joining me, and to everyone who has gotten this far into the episode, thank you for listening. Don't forget, leave reviews wherever you can. Even reach out to me on social media. I've got the Twitters, I've got the Instagrams. Come by onto the YouTube channel if you found this elsewhere. And also the Twitch.
And make sure to join us.
Might be live, you never know.
Make sure to join us again soon.
Yes, definitely. Hopefully there'll be a new episode out rather soon. But no, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day / morning / night.
And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Catch us all later.